All right, good evening, board members. We are going to begin this regular meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education, November 10, 2025. I'm going to ask everyone who can to please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll ask Mr. Whitford to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian? Present. Mrs. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Conti?
Present.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Maison?
Here.
Dr. Racine?
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Present.
Dr. Alati?
Here.
You have a quorum.
The New Jersey...
Miss Iorio.
Oh.
Here.
Thank you. Now you have a quorum.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. So board members, in your packets this evening, there are regular meeting and executive session meeting minutes to approve from October 20th, 2025. Any questions or comments from board members? All right, hearing none, then I'll ask Mr. Whitford to please enter those. And we are now going to have our report of the student representative. Mrs. Iorio, over to you.
Good evening. Everyone is feeling recharged after a short week and ready to start off the new quarter. Unfortunately, the football team lost last Friday night in the sectional semifinal after a very successful season. Our other fall sports are also coming to an end, and many athletes are getting ready for winter sports. Student council volunteers helped run the 7th and 8th grade open house, guiding the students and parents around the building and answering questions. It was very well attended, and the middle school students seemed really excited to get to see the high school. Student Council and Pep Club also helped raise money for breast cancer awareness by selling pink ribbons throughout the month of October. The Future Teachers of America Club hosted a Halloween movie night for the elementary school students. Both the high school volunteers and the kids had a great time. Members of Heroes and Cool Kids attended their first training today and will be visiting Pierpont School next week to talk to the 6th graders about resilience. The fall play, The Importance of Being Earnest, is this Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. The cast and crew have been working really hard to put on a great show. And then the National Honor Society will be competing in the annual spelling bee against Becton in a couple of weeks. And from the other schools, Pierpont School participated in Week of Respect with an assembly on digital citizenship and internet safety. And they also had a pep rally to promote positive behavior. They also had the annual book fair and Halloween costume contest. And the Service Club will be sponsoring a Thanksgiving food drive this month. Lincoln School celebrated Halloween with their first annual door decorating contest, which selected 3 winning doors. The PTA also hosted their annual Halloween social. And Washington School participated in their 2nd annual Walk for Washington, which helps raise money for the PTA. The event celebrated unity, healthy habits, teamwork, and school spirit. And the students were very excited to have the Bulldog mascot make an appearance. And that's all I have for tonight. I hope you have a great night.
All right, thank you, Ms. Iorio. Questions from board members? As always, we appreciate your well-rounded report and reporting on all the schools and everything going on. So just want to say thank you for that. I don't have any questions myself. Seeing no other questions, you can feel free to stay for any portion of the remainder of the evening, but I know you may have commitments as well. I want to thank you for all the time you put into your reports and for being at board meetings. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I am now going to turn it over to the superintendent, Mr. Hurley, for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Lottie. I wanted to also add congratulations to the student athletes, and also we had, I'm not sure if she mentioned this or not, 5 members of the high school choir make the county choir, which is quite an honor, and 5 students from our band be selected for the College of New Jersey Wind Ensemble program. Both are very highly competitive throughout the state for the College of New Jersey and throughout the county for Bergen County. So I want to congratulate those 10 students. Congratulations to Mr. Conti, Mr. Sprayberry, on coming back to the board for another 3 years, and to Ms. Cates for being elected as a new board member, and to Mr. Maison for his election to the Borough Council. So, and unfortunately leaving us, but we wish him well. So congratulations to all on your selection. We are on the agenda tonight, a number of items I'll be speaking about. One of them is the calendar for the budget process that you'll be asked to approve. And I normally, this is Mr. Whitford's chance to speak, but I do want to mention that when we get into this process, it's going to be, as always, a challenge. This year in particular, we were informed that our health benefit premium is going up 37%, am I correct? And for one plan, and 31% for another plan. So those are massive increases. As we get into the process, again, we're going to do our best to do what we've always done, which is have a maintenance budget. And by a maintenance budget, we're looking to maintain everything we have, right? But it's going to be more of a challenge with those kind of increases. And we'll get into that more, but I want all of us to be thinking a little bit about that. Last meeting, I mentioned our survey that went out. I had sent you all a copy of the summary of the results. Tomorrow, I'll be posting those on the website for the community, the same copy you all received, and also be sharing it with faculty and staff. Some really quick overview of what was sent to you, but in terms of the survey, we did get a nice turnout. About 524 members of the community participated in the survey, and of those, that's about 21%, I believe, 22%, which is a good turnout. Okay, generally speaking, there was a lot of positive comments. To give you an idea of the breakdown, we had 22% of our high school population parents, 21 from Pierpont, 17 from Washington, 16 from Lincoln, 13 from Union, 8 from the Kindergarten Center, which is understandable. Many of those parents are asked to fill out a survey about their thoughts about the district, and they've only been in the district for about a month. And 1.3% about a district placement. Communication, email seemed to be the most effective method for parents. I think that question may have been a little misleading. I think that was more about major topics as opposed to a quick message about, hey, congratulations to the band, but in terms of just messaging, email. For the most part, communication was seen as being timely and effective. There were some recurring mentions about consistency across the schools, where different schools seem to have different methods or venues of communication. In terms of academic support, trust of the teachers was very high. The support was rated as very strong. There were some concerns about differentiation, and there were some concerns about screen time in younger grades as we moved into the digital age. Some folks feel like maybe we've moved too far with young kids. SEL, social emotional learning, was highly valued. There was a lot of interest in the Parent Academy sessions, which is positive because we don't get huge turnouts at them, but remember, they're all online as well. So the fact that people are showing high interest. There were, in terms of our profile of the graduate, many of the concepts that we're talking about were mentioned in the survey. critical thinking, collaboration, emotionally resilient, adaptable, things of that nature, which do fit our foundational pieces. Some actionable next steps. We are looking at various things. We're looking at enhancing our digital presence. We're going to take a look at the survey and also internal conversations we've had about looking at our website, looking at our social media platforms to get both more consistency and maybe more usability, if that's the right word, a little more user-friendly. We're also going to take a conversation to look at, if not district-wide, but bands of grade level, if we could get more consistency in the mode of communication. So, the K-3 schools and the 4 to 6 and so on, okay? Special education, we have had a very strong collaboration this year with CPAC, which is the parent group, and many of the things that were mentioned in the survey have already been addressed, not addressed in terms of putting things into action, but addressed in terms of to-do lists, for lack of a better word, with the CPAC group. So, for example, things like workshops for parents to have better understanding of what co-teaching is, a better understanding of how to interpret an IEP. So we'll be looking to continue that. We also are going to take a look at some of the topics suggested by the Parent Academy. We're also going to take a look at student data platforms. In fact, we're taking a dive right now into how can we take all the data, because we have tons and tons and tons and tons of data, but get it into a platform that's going to be easier and more accessible, not just to parents, but also to the teachers, because sometimes there's an overload of data. You get so much of it, it's hard to navigate through it. So we are looking into a platform that many districts are using, and we're going to have a couple of presentations and discussions about that with the administrative to see if we want to make that move to a different platform. And you'll hear more about that. In fact, that will be something briefly on the Curriculum and Instruction Committee meeting that's coming up. And again, we're going to always look to our technology. We have a goal and a program in AI. We'll take a look at that concern about screen time. Okay? One of the things to keep in mind is a good part of the survey were just bubbled, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And then there were about half of the survey were open-ended questions. So in the open-ended questions, the company we're using, again, all this went out to a third party. The summary, except for even the actionable items, were suggested by the third party, and then we kind of filter them to meet our needs. One or two comments out of 2,600 people, but we didn't dismiss any comment, even if it came from one person. We're putting it into discussion because it could just be something, we could dismiss and say, well, it's one person out of 2,600, but it also could be one person who's speaking for others. So we're taking a look at everything that was in the survey. But for the most part, I hope you read the summary. It was very positive, and I was also happy to see that many of the things that were suggestions or concerns had already been in the hopper to be addressed. So we're happy with that. And like I said, when we have committee meetings, some of this will also resurface. Speaking of committee meetings, curriculum and instruction on the 24th at 6:45, and followed by personnel at 7:15. I'll get agendas to you and invites to you ahead of that meeting. Okay. At this time, the other committees don't need to meet. You do see the calendar, I believe, right, tonight will be getting approved for finance. And, if you're currently on the finance committee and you want to pencil those dates in, I know come January 1st, we often reshuffle committees slightly, but a lot of times finance remains because they have to hit the ground running pretty much right away. But that remains to be seen. Okay. So that's it. That's for my report tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hurley. Just to confirm, committee meeting November 24th, right?
November 24th.
Okay.
Did I give the wrong date again?
No, I just don't know if you gave the date. So
Yeah, November 24th. Yep. Yeah, but last week I gave the wrong date. That's what it was.
Questions or comments from board members? I just want to really appreciate the fact that the district is sending surveys out to different constituents and really leaning in, and Ms. Hurley to not only talking about the positives that came out of the survey, but also the constructive feedback, things that the district can continue to work on. And I think that's great for all of us to be aware of those things and to really have a pulse. What surveys are still left to go out?
The next one that's going to go out is going to be a similar kind of culture, climate survey to faculty, staff, and we're going to do the entire staff. There'll be a certificated staff survey and a non-certificated staff survey. Then we'll be doing a student survey, similar culture, climate type of thing. And then the others really are going to be dependent on either things that we find in these surveys that we want to go back out and say, hey, how do you feel about this now? Or they could be more earmarked. For example, we have a new math program, so in the second year, we might want to just do a survey focusing on that, or we might want to do a survey focusing on, a language arts program, or something that's more specific as opposed to more general. That remains to be seen. Mr. Conte?
Yeah, one piece of feedback that I did get was that it wasn't, first off, the survey, everyone that I had spoken to me said the surveys were fantastic. But one thing that they struggled with was if multiple kids in different schools, it didn't do a very good job of differentiating which school or which kid you were talking about.
We actually asked people to do, I think we did in the instructions, I'd have to go back and revisit, if they would do multiple surveys, okay? I know it was a pain because it might be something very different, right? You might feel, hey, communication from this building's great, and from the other building, not so great, right?
I think that was the...
Well, we could clear up instructions for that. Because the data, the raw data that gets given to us, right, was broken down. We could break it down anyway. We could break it down by school. We could break it down. Going forward, if that situation we would want people to indicate. Because they didn't allow you to put two answers, and then which answer would apply to which one. But it's the first year that we're using this particular company, and they've been very good at asking us for feedback on what's worked well and what hasn't worked well. So I'll also mention that to them if there's a way to design something where a person doesn't have to do the entire survey twice. Or 3 times in some cases, right?
Sorry, one last question. The student survey that goes out, does that go to their emails? Is it announced in the schools? Do they have a chance to fill that out to give feedback?
Right now, that's going to be probably in January or late December. We haven't answered that question yet. I think one of the things that we would probably do is use their email. We're going to ask the advice of the people who do this professionally. Is it better to let them do it at school or let them do it at home? And I think where they're leaning is more to doing it at home. So it's not taking away class time, but also they don't feel like anybody's looking over their shoulder type of thing. And also, we don't want a captive audience, right? If I do it in school and I say, hey, 20 people now, we're going to take 10 minutes to do the survey. Well, we're forcing someone to do a survey. We don't want to force people to do a survey. The survey is also going to be, we have board policy about student surveys, and there's certain questions that you can't ask without parental permission. So the surveys will not include any question like that, okay? So that there's more opportunity for a student to voice concern. And those questions are more in terms of, personal information or health or mental health information.
All right.
Ms. Jones?
Ms. Jones?
Mr. Hurley, last week you represented the state of New Jersey in Washington.
Yes.
As superintendent of the year. Can you tell us about it?
It was a nice experience to be with the other winners who I was with back in March. It was interesting because we kind of remembered each other by state. Like someone said, "Oh, you're New Jersey," and that kind of thing. It was sort of like Miss America. The programs were good. The information was good. It's always, I think, very interesting to get out side of the area and hear from people around the country. Commonalities, we all have the same issues, sometimes to a greater or lesser extent. We also have the same positives. It was also some very good speakers. The woman who was going to be the undersecretary to the Department of Education, but then opted to be an advisor to the Secretary of Education. She was a speaker, attorney that represents the National Association of Superintendents in terms of educational practice. And if something goes to the Supreme Court, she's the one that goes. She was a presenter. So it was nice to hear from a lot of people like that. And also, we talk about our profile of the graduate. One of the things that one of the speakers brought out was kind of connected to profile, where she said, imagine that a graduate from your school is never going to take another academic class of any kind. Okay, not going to vocational school, tech school, just going to go out there and find their way. What skills, do you think they need? And they talked about the things that we test once a year on, and I report to the board community about, it may not be those skills. They talked about critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, all that. And, those are really the components of what we're talking about in profile. So it was kind of interesting to hear that message and, resonating across the 50 states. So it was very nice. Couldn't get into any buildings because of the shutdown, in terms of sightseeing, just a look at the outside of the buildings. But I did tell you I was going to go there and end it, right? And now it's ending, right? I don't want to take credit for it, but I did. No, I'm kidding. So, no, it was good. Thank you for asking. And Wednesday, I'm going to Trenton on that 18 to 21 hearing. We have a hearing in front of the State Assembly. 7 of us are going to speak to the concern about counting those 18 to 21 students as graduates. So we'll see where that goes.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Then we will move on to the report of the president. So I will keep it brief. I want to echo Mr. Hurley's congratulations to Chris Conti and James Sprayberry for serving another 3 years and all the time that you and everyone else volunteer. Congratulations to Christina Cates, who's here this evening, who's going to be joining the Board of Education in January. Mr. Mazzone, I'll save my toast for December 1st, but you've been an invaluable member of the board and vice president for the last decade. So just a preliminary thank you. Secondly, just a reminder in terms of community events, there are a lot of upcoming events that Mr. Hurley put in the memo that he sends us. So there are some plays coming up at the high school. There are concerts coming up in December. REF's Casino Night is next Friday, November 21st, for those who can make it. And our final meeting of this calendar year is December 1st at 7 p.m. Lastly, Mr. Healy shared with me there is an NJSBA meeting that is taking place on Saturday, November 22nd. There is an in-person option for a face-to-face meeting, but it's also virtual for those who are interested. It's 9 to 12 p.m. on Saturday the 22nd. I know we all have busy schedules, but for everyone who's able to, we can share information about how you can register for that, whether you don't need to be the delegate or the alternate to be able to sign up and go to the meeting. So that is it for the president's report. Any questions?
Dr. Arlotti, I can
Yes.
forward that information about the delegate assembly.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
So
forward-
Mr. Healy will forward that to us so we all have that. Excellent. All right. So we're going to move on now to the portion that says meeting open to the public. So typically we have 2 portions of where we open the meeting to the public. First time is typically for comments related to the agenda this evening, and then the second time after our new business is for any comments related to or not related to the agenda. However, I see we have a wonderful audience this evening, and we have students here, and I do recognize that students have homework, and so want to be able to, at this time, open up the meeting to the public for anything that's either related to or not related to the agenda, just to share with folks in the audience. We don't often get an audience, so this is very exciting, and we welcome everyone who's here this evening. Just to share a little bit about how the open meeting public comments works. So we ask folks who have public comments they want to make to come up to the microphone, to state your name and your address, or if you're not comfortable with your address, you can say your municipality. We ask folks to keep their comments to about 3 minutes or so, just so we have time to hear everyone's comments collectively that they want to share. And just so you know how our open public comments work, it's not typically a back and forth between the board or the superintendent and those who have comments. It's an opportunity for all of us as board members to hear the voices of the community, things that are important to the community. A lot of the work we do is in committees, and we have 6 committees that function outside of here. And we also have executive sessions after the board meeting as well, where we have an opportunity to reflect on anything that's come up. So after all of comments are heard, I'll ask if there are any other comments, and at that point, either Mr. Hurley as superintendent or myself, we may or may not make any comments addressing things that have been stated this evening. But just so you know, we're always taking notes. We value feedback from the community, and we will be following up always to comments that happen either in the committee level or at the executive committee level or executive session level. So with that, I'm going to invite everyone who would like to come up to the microphone. Just state your name and your address or municipality, and we'll begin that way. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Mahek Sohagia. My address is 32 Carnier Avenue.
Can you speak in the microphone a
Oh,
little more?
sorry.
Yeah, just you could flip the microphone up a little bit, maybe? Perfect.
Is that good? Good evening. My name is Mahek Sohagia. My address is 32 Carnier Avenue. I'm here today representing over 600 members of our community who have signed our petition for recognizing Diwali as a district holiday in Rutherford. Rutherford and Bergen County are proud of their diversity, and we want our school calendar to reflect that. According to the 2020 U.S. Census for the borough of Rutherford, 2,974 residents identified as Asian, and of those, 1,425 are identified as South Asian. While newer exact figures for South Asian immigrants have not been updated, South Asian immigrants have continued to grow. Real estate data, cultural organizations, and school enrollment trends all show steady growth in South Asian origin households over the past few years. This isn't just about statistics, it is a visible, undeniable shift in our community's makeup. South Asian students make up a growing part of our school, our neighborhood, and our town events. Recognizing Diwali as a district holiday is not about special treatment, it is about accurately representing the community that exists here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Asta Desai, and my address is 61 Clark Avenue, Rutherford, New Jersey, 07070. I am here to demonstrate that recognizing Diwali as a district holiday is not only fair, but also practical, and is already being done across the country. In California, Assembly Bill 268 was signed on October 2nd, 2025, officially recognizing Diwali as a state holiday beginning in 2026. This allows schools and public offices to close. Similarly, in Pennsylvania, the legislature passed a bipartisan bill making Diwali an official state holiday, the first state in the nation to do so. According to the 2020 census, Pennsylvania had approximately 155,887 South Asians, while New Jersey had about 432,883 South Asians. In New Jersey alone, 29 school districts already recognize Diwali as a full day off, reflecting the growing cultural presence of South Asian communities across the state. Even closer to home, in New York, multiple school districts, including East Meadow, Herricks, and Somerset, already give students the day off for Diwali based on community need. The day of Diwali is determined by the lunar calendar, which means its date fluctuates every year, typically falling between late October and early November. Because of this, we respectfully request that when Diwali falls on a weekday, our district recognizes it as a day off on the school calendar. These precedents prove that recognizing Diwali is entirely feasible. If states and districts across the U.S. can take this step towards inclusion, Rutherford can do the same. This is not a radical request. It is a logical, supported, and increasingly common step that aligns school policy with the reality of our community. Implementing a district day off would require minimal administrative changes, but it would send a clear message of inclusion and respect to every student and family in Rutherford.
Good evening. My name is Swara Jatani. My address is 17 Meadow Road, and I want to emphasize why recognizing Diwali as a district holiday is not just meaningful for South Asian families, but for our entire community. Diwali is a festival of light. It celebrates the victory of good over evil, knowledge over ignorance, and love over hatred. It's celebrated by Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, and Buddhists. Its values align with the lessons we strive to uphold in our schools: kindness, understanding, and unity. This year, when Diwali fell on Monday, October 20th, the RHS student body organized a school-wide celebration where students decorated the cafeteria with traditional Indian decorations. They shared sweets and snacks. They painted Indian diyas, and about 100 students joined together to celebrate the Festival of Lights. The event went beyond celebration. It became an educational experience where students learned about Diwali's values and traditions, fostering curiosity, understanding, and respect. Recognizing Diwali is more about culture. It's more than about culture. It's about inclusion and respect. Diwali reminds us to live with wisdom, compassion, and unity, the same principles we aim to build in our classrooms and community. Giving students the day off acknowledges their traditions, allows families to celebrate together, and allows students to learn from one another's cultures. We urge the council to approve this request and have Rutherford lead by an example in honoring the values of our richness of our community. Recognizing Diwali would show that Rutherford schools value each and every student, every family, and the richness of our diverse community. Thank you.
Are there any other comments from anyone in the public who would like to speak? Hello.
Yeah, I think I. Good evening. I think I have to hold it.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Hurley, and fellow community members. I'm going to take a little longer. I apologize in advance. My name is Meena Patel, and I'm a Rutherford resident for over 19 years. I'm very proud to be a part of this community. I'm also a mother to two beautiful girls. The younger one goes to Union School, and older one is a senior and a cross-country athlete. As a parent, I've always admired how our town and our schools value inclusion, respect, and togetherness. Diwali is a time to pass down stories from mythology, to share the meaning of light conquering darkness, to teach kindness, humility, and gratitude. It's not just a cultural celebration, it's a day that builds empathy and reinforces the same value our school instills every day. It's a time when our homes come alive with light, color, traditional food, prayer, and gratitude. A time to gather with love and with all the family members and honor our traditions. Yet instead of being fully immersed in the spirit of Diwali, our children often find themselves torn between keeping up with schoolwork, test, and homework assignments. We are not asking for an extra holiday. We are asking for enough space and time for our children to be fully present in both worlds, their education and their heritage. Because I truly believe that a child's culture shapes their character. Teaching them math and science is important, but teaching them their roots, values, and traditions gives them identity. Rutherford is a beautiful, diverse community, and this diversity is our strength. Recognizing Diwali as a district-wide day off is more than symbolic. It shows our children that their culture matters, their identity belongs, and they are seen. Thank you for your time and for listening not just to the voice of parents, but to the hearts of our children who simply wish to celebrate their culture without compromise. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Courtney Full. I live in Rutherford only for about 2 years now. I was not fully planning on saying this so early in my attending the board meetings. This is only my second one. But I actually was very inspired and happy that my first grader came home with so many days of curriculum about Diwali. And it's interesting because it also really hurt because I'm Jewish. And there was not one mention of Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. And I'm definitely not looking for days off. I understand that there's not enough of a community here, but it just would have been really wonderful to have it recognized as well, just mentioned. And yeah, but it was wonderful and beautiful to also hear all about Diwali. So just to mention that there are some Jewish people here, and our kids would love to feel like they're seen also.
All right, is there anyone from the audience who would also like to speak?
Hey, board members. Me, Suhagya, 32 Carnier Avenue, Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm an alumni from RHS 2020. Shaking Dr. Hurley's hand here when we graduated during the difficult time of COVID. I just think, now that the community's grown enough to really bring this issue up to the board, I think it's great that they're advocating for it. I think having a day off for the district is great. Not just an excuse day, having sports off, that way they're able to fully immerse into the culture and be present. Just gonna keep this short and simple. I think what the kids here are doing is a great idea, and I really hope that you guys are able to see this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kanisha Vagasia, and I live on 54 Wilson Avenue, Rutherford. And I'm also an alumni of this district, so I just want to share how meaningful this Diwali recognized as a district-wide holiday would be for me. Because when I moved to this country, I was just 14 years old, and I was a freshman in this high school. And then trying to pretend that Diwali didn't exist when all my friends were sending me cute photos of being light up Diwalis and diyas back home. And when I'm back home, we used to get 20 days off, like the entire year. I'm not asking for that many days. We're just asking for one day to be recognized as our holiday because it would mean a lot to us. And to recognize as an official holiday would really include us and represent us with all our friends. And I also think that my younger cousins that are also growing up here and they're going to be part of this community, they will definitely understand why we celebrate Diwali and not just ask questions about diyas and stuff like that. They're going to see that we're also recognizing as a national holiday. That means it means something to everybody here. So thank you, everyone.
All right, are there other comments from the public? Okay. Going once, going twice? All right, so we're going to close the meeting at 7:39 p.m. to the public.
Well, first I want to say that I mentioned before about Profile the Graduate, and, communication and citizenship and critical thinking, and to have students get up and speak in front of a large crowd and to articulate their positions so well are the exact skills that I was alluding to before. So thank you for doing that. And I think someone just mentioned about advocacy and being able to speak on things you feel passionate about. That's really an important skill to have. I also appreciate the calendar that was given to me, especially when I see that next year is on a Sunday, so we don't have to make any decision right away. But one of the things I do want to say, and this is not for anybody to read anything into this, but I think sometimes in terms of just understanding, right? Part of what you spoke about tonight was understanding concerns. I just want to make you understand how the school calendar is put together, okay? So, yes, the one of the women that spoke about Diwali being celebrated, and one of our students that spoke about it, and speaking about not getting that information about another holiday. I will address that, because one of the things we're trying to do across the district, and I think we've been pretty successful with, is recognize a variety of holidays and celebrations that our students take a part of. You're right, there's a large number of Jewish students in our population, and we also have students who celebrate Eid and Lunar New Year, and so many different holidays. And we try, in terms of diversity, and in terms of cultural growth, we want to try to educate all of us in different cultures and different customs. One of the speakers mentioned about students having to live in two worlds on a day that may be a celebration in their home and then school. Well, just so, again, for edification, there are on the calendar during school time, and I realize some of these holidays are lesser of importance or more important, but there are something like, let me find the number, bear with me, I'm going to, 58 religious holidays, okay, on the calendar from September to June, okay? And in addition to that, there are 10 federal or state holidays on that calendar. So in the months of school, there are 68 days that something's being celebrated by somebody. So one of the things the State Department of Education did was they came up with about 3 different reasons that you could have an excused absence. And one of them is when you get called to a court for some reason. One of them is you go on a college visit. And one of them is to celebrate a religious holiday. So that, by excuse, it doesn't mean somebody's writing you a note. It means it doesn't count as an absence. And what we tell our teachers, or I should say we ask our teachers, but really we tell our teachers, is they need to be aware of holidays, and they should not be giving assignments to students that are due the day after or the day of a holiday. So, we try our best to police that. Now, keep in mind, you have 350 teachers, there might be one who isn't thoughtful of that, but that's really what the law says. So a student could take off for any holiday and not be penalized for that. But part of the problem and the challenge in doing a calendar is contractually we have to have 188 days of school for our faculty and staff and 184 days for our students in a 10-month period. So the way districts really judge, and again, I'm not asking you to read anything into this, right? I'm just trying to explain, is the anticipation of what your absentee rate is going to be. If you have a high absentee rate of faculty and staff, you can't run school. You can't have classrooms without teachers. If you have a high absentee rate of students, then you're not going to have a very productive day. So we look at that data. We actually run reports every year. How many students were out for religious holiday on Diwali, on Eid, on how many faculty on Jewish holidays, how many faculty members took the day, okay? And we have to factor that in because you cannot close every time there's a holiday. You'll never get those 188 days in. So again, I'm not giving you an answer, right? I'm just giving you the challenge that we have to face, okay? So what we attempt to do, and sometimes we succeed, and sometimes we don't, I'm being very honest, is to try to, first of all, student or faculty member takes a day off, it's not a charged day. Well, it is for the faculty because they're getting paid, that's different, okay? But it's not a charged day for the kids. And we ask our staff, don't give work that has to be done that night. Or if you're going to give the rest of the class work that night, you give that student a couple of days extra to get it done, right? We also attempt to celebrate and acknowledge the holidays in the buildings as part of a culture. So the kids who are celebrating feel a part of that culture, but more importantly, for the other kids, that they get to learn more about it. So, I'm sure the board will, have a discussion about what you brought up tonight. Like I said, we have a whole year now to have a discussion about that. But no, we will have a discussion. But we have to factor in all the other groups. And we have to factor in all those days. And we have to factor in the reality of when students, and I'll give you two very quick examples, okay? They're secular days, right? Tomorrow's Veterans Day. It's a federal holiday, state holiday. We're open because we don't have kids or teachers taking off for Veterans Day. Some might, yeah. We also, last week, school was closed Thursday, Friday for the state teachers convention. Now, you don't have to, there is not a single day that you have to close. You can be open any day you want, as long as you think you're going to get people showing up. The reason why schools close for the state teachers convention is because every teacher has the right to go to that convention. Now, maybe some do, maybe some don't, maybe a lot don't, but they have the right to go. So if we hold school and they all say, hey, I'm going to the convention, we don't have anybody to cover the classes, so we close. So their election day, we don't close because it's election day. We close, for years we didn't close on election day, but now we got concerned with school safety. So we don't want to have our kids in the building when the doors are wide open for anybody to come walking in. And if you read the paper and you saw last week, there were bomb scares across the county, including here, that we had to have dogs come in and sniff the building. That's why we don't want kids in. But now those are 2 more days that you have to take out of your calendar. So it becomes a challenge. So I just want you to understand that, so you don't just think it's, oh, let's just not be off this day or that day. You have to look at the numbers, you have to look at the prediction of numbers, and you have to look at how many days fit into the calendar, okay? What I will do for the students who are here, right, whatever preliminary discussion happens with the board tonight or the next week or so, I'll come over to the high school, I'll set up a time to meet with you, and I'll tell you what we're thinking and why we're thinking. So, I'm not going to send you an email, I want to come and talk to you about it, okay? So I'll do that, all right? So I'll set that up, okay? In 2027, I don't have to do it. No, I'll set that up in the next week or two, okay? All right?
Thank you, Mr. Hurley. I just want to say, first of all, I want to express appreciation to the 3 students, the 2 parents, and the 2 alums who came up and spoke. I think all of us really appreciate the importance of having a voice, having agency, being an advocate for the things that you believe. So being here this evening in unity and supporting one another is super important. It's also important for us as a board to hear the reflections of the community. I think Mr. Hurley shared some of the parameters and possibilities of what it is the district's always trying to achieve. I do want to say that I heard 3 or so through lines of things that came up this evening, not just about the day itself, being off or not off, but I really heard about valuing folks' identity and like people feeling like they are really seen and valued within the district. I heard about this idea of being fully present during Diwali and the importance of being with family and celebrating and dancing. I'm not going to say I haven't been part of a Diwali celebration and dance before. And also just this idea of making sure that all, different holidays, more than one was brought up this evening, are really acknowledged and celebrated and understood. And to me, that's the difference of that is what cultural competency is having a district where everyone really kind of understands these things. So I want to thank everyone for coming. It's something that we do take seriously. I also was going to suggest and really appreciate Mr. Hurley's approach that he's going to continue to be transparent and speak with students so that everyone understands the thinking, how we're going about making decisions, which I think is important. I am going to ask as a board at the end of the meeting that we have an executive session just as a board so that we can digest and just talk about all the comments that were heard this evening, just so everyone here knows that we are going to do that because we do take this seriously. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming this evening, and please know that all of your your feedback is taken seriously, so thank you. We do have business kind of action to be taken with some business items coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a minute transition. If everyone would like to stay for the remainder of the meeting and hear all the stuff we're going to continue to do, you're welcome to do that. If you have other things that you need to attend to this evening, again, just want to say thank you for coming. But we're going to have a minute pause in the meeting just as a transition in case folks want to decide whether they want to stay or not. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to continue on with the meeting. We're going to move on now to new business where there's action to be taken. We'll start with personnel. Mrs. Cole.
Good evening. Personnel did not meet this month. We have 13 motions to be put forward tonight at the recommendation of the superintendent, and I'd like to move motions 1 through 13 under personnel.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second? All right, Mr. Conti. And discussion, questions or comments about personnel? All right, hearing none. Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry? Yes. Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on now to curriculum and instruction. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. We did not have a CNI meeting, and tonight there are 5 motions that have been put forth upon the recommendation of the superintendent. I move resolutions 1 through 5.
All right, do we have a second on that? Mr. Healy? Questions and comments from board members?
I want to make just one comment. Item number 4, every year I have to send a statement of assurance that I just signed that we have a safety and security plan. For some reason this year, without telling us, they said, no, you have to have a board resolution approving that you sent the statement of assurance. So the plan is the same plan we've had, but I have to say, yes, we have one, and so I did the board. Okay, motion. Just so I don't want you to think there was a revised plan. It's just the statement of assurance.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you see me circle it? That's why you said something? No, I'm just kidding. All right, any other questions or comments from board members? Hearing none. Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
Yes, we did not have a Finance Committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 6 motions to consider. I would like to move motions 1 through 6 under Finance.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second for those? Ms. Cole. Questions, comments from board members? Nope, all right. Hearing none, then Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, we're going to move on now to policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a committee meeting since our last board meeting, and there are no resolutions for this evening.
All right, thank you. Then we will move on to buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry. All right, thank you. Do we have a second for that? Mr. Bogosian? Comments, questions from the board? Ms. Jones?
I just hope that everybody noticed that the cottage has been painted. It is our deep royal blue with white trim and gray doors, and it looks lovely. They did it last week, not during the break, the week, actually the Sunday before it was done. And I drove by and I said, good job, guys. Delighted to see it done. It looks a big improvement. It looks bigger to me, too.
We enlarged it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what paint does.
Anything to keep me happy. Oh, I love that.
Yes. The one comment on the resolution. I want to thank the borough and also thank the board for being willing to partner to get this done. Tomorrow, when it's going to be 32 degrees, for the first time in my office, I'll actually have some heat. So I'm very happy that we were able to make that work. Yeah.
Mr. Sprayberry.
And we actually did the sound system in there, and that's the mic survey, and they had stuff going on. And, Jack comes in, looking around like, I know that voice where
Yeah.
it's coming from. But the AZ, they did a really nice job with the contractor there, so I was in there waiting, that's it. So we should be nice and cozy tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as no voice is coming out of that room, really.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Maison?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Lottie?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on now to old business. Is there any old business from board members? Mrs. Jones?
I have been enjoying the football games. It went to all the home games, and I didn't make the last one that they had in Newark. But I would just like to say that there were only 2 seniors on the team this year, and to have them achieve the amount of wins that they did with this team, they were wonderful, and they really wanted to win, and they did. David Bogosian, our James Bogosian's son, played offense and defense in his position as a linebacker. He was very instrumental. In the broadcast that they had, I didn't go to the game on Friday night, but I was told it was on YouTube, and I watched it on YouTube, and I was very pleased. But the announcer gave a lot of tribute to, not only to Steve Dunn, but he mentioned David, and he talked about some of the seniors and sophomore, Quinn Weber. But they gave Rutherford a nice job, considering that they unfortunately did not win, but it was nice to hear.
Yeah, a great year.
Anything else? Hearing no other old business, we'll move on to legislative update. Back over to you, Mr. Jones.
Yes. In light of what we heard last year, there is a resolution, Senate Bill 4752, that has been brought forth by Robert W. Singer from Monmouth County. The bill title requires school districts to allow homeschool students to participate in school-sponsored extracurricular activities in the student's resident district. Now, you might remember that we had a member of the community asking that his daughter be allowed, and she was homeschooled, and he wanted her to be able to participate in one of our sports. So that would be interesting if that changes. What came up in that discussion was the insurance problems, and I don't know how they're going to get around it with this, but
Well, like I said before, there's always bills introduced, and then some of them sit in the docket for years and years and years. And you know, one of the things that happens with bills that get introduced, sometimes the homework's not being done to see how would this actually happen, and what would happen. And insurance is one thing. All the issues that we raised when we had these discussions would be factors that would make it, I think, unmanageable. Right now, legislation changed as far as athletics is concerned, right? That said, if a district wants to have a policy and take this on, they can, right? Very few districts have done that, some have. So, you know, I think to make this a universal statement for all districts, I don't see that happening, but we'll see what happens. A lot of bills get introduced.
At 8:02 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public for anything related to or not related to the agenda. Hearing nothing, we're going to close the meeting at 8:02 p.m. We are going to have a brief executive session
Yeah, we'll call it soon.
to discuss a student matter. Should be out for about 5 minutes. Need a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Sprayberry, seconded by Dr. Racine. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.